What's up, guys? Last week we talked about how achievement substitution prevents us from taking action towards our goals. Achievement substitution says that the more we talk publicly about what we want, the more we're able to substitute the feeling of achievement without having to do any of the hard work. Now, that's a pretty dangerous thing for anyone working towards a better life, and especially for those of us who are self-employed. So this week, in part 2, we'll discuss another distinct but closely related thing that we do that prevents us from accomplishing our dreams. So have you seen those thoughts and prayer memes? One of my favorites has an image of two fat cats lying around the house. And the text over the picture says, "I named my two cats thoughts and prayers because they're both useless." Well, this week I learned that there's a reason we feel compelled to send out thoughts and prayers. So the overwhelming amount of information that we have access to has caused us as a society to become more passive in our social activism. And these days it's considered the responsible thing to do to stay informed. So we consume all this information. But the more information, or the more informed we become, the more knowledgeable we are about a wide range of topics. And because we're able to discuss them, then we feel like we're actually doing something. But in fact, we aren't. The more time we spend staying informed, the less time we have to take any action. And this is why people complain about social issues like gun control or the government in general, but they don't get involved. It's part of the reason why we struggle with voter turnout in this country. And there's even a name for it. It's called narcotizing dysfunction, and it was first used back in 1946. So narcotizing dysfunction is the theory that mass media inundates people with information and they become numb to it, eventually substituting knowledge for action. So 1946, you guys, way before the internet and social media. I mean, no wonder we feel compelled these days to send out thoughts and prayers and think we're doing something. But we all know that knowledge is not a substitution for action. In fact, without action, you're severely limited in your ability to use any of the knowledge that you gain. True wisdom comes from marrying knowledge with action. And this is where your business and your goals come in. So in real estate, taking a class on something is right at the top of the list of favorite things for realtors to do. I think second only to going to a closing. And I'd bet good money that number 3 on that list would be teaching a class. So when salespeople allow their fears of taking action to overwhelm their emotions, the first thing that they do is take a class on something. And this gives them the feeling of work, but it can eat up all the time they had for actually doing anything. But it's so narcotizing that when there isn't a class to take, we look for one to teach. Now, I've seen more than a few people create classes out of thin air that no one even asked for, just so they can teach something. And of course, there's always going to be plenty of people, other narcotized people around who will jump at the class at the chance to stay informed and take the class. and these days, if there isn't anything going on in your office, you can just go online and take a class. Do you see where I'm going with this? Coaching and training is the best thing in the world. It's my business. But if you want to hit your goals this year, it cannot be a substitution for taking action. So last week, I suggested that we stop blabbing to the world about our goals so that we can focus on our own mindset and simply do the work. This week, I'm suggesting that we pull back from mass media and all information sources. Because to keep from becoming narcotized, we have to take a good look at where we might be going overboard with information and education. And when you find those areas, cut back and free up the space to take action. I believe that bringing those two things together and into balance can get you right back on track so that you have the best year ever. Well, that's what I learned this week, you guys, and I trust you see my demonstration of action here. You guys are awesome, and I always love interacting with you in the comments. So before you leave, scroll down and make sure you leave one. Have a fantastic week. My name is Jason Edwards, and let's go think bigger.